broadcast in Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon, presented by the Arbella Insurance Foundation, live from Fenway Park. It struck Jerry and I early on some of our early visits to the Jimmy Fund Clinic, and Kirk has seen this as well, that in addition to the environment that Lisa has created there, and the kids trying to make it as comfortable as possible and happy as possible in their downtime for infusion rooms and all that sort of stuff, is the look on the parents' faces, because they, more than anybody else, of young children, know what the battle is all about, and it's got to be the worst feeling in the world. And I'd like to welcome to our broadcast site from Franklin, Massachusetts, Greg and Lisa Cleary. Their son Nicholas was diagnosed with neuroblastoma. I guess you'll never forget April 27, 2015. That must be, for a parent, just like getting punched right in the face.
As long as I live, I'll never forget that day.
Yeah. How did that unfold in front of you, Mom and Dad?
Nicholas was sick for maybe around a month. We thought it was a stomach bug because our other son had it, and then he just wasn't getting better. And we went to the doctors about 8 times in 20 days, and same thing. They thought acid reflux, celiac, low iron, anything. They were all, really not related to specifically cancer. And on April 27th, we went in for an ultrasound, and it revealed a large mass on top of his right adrenal gland, and it was stage 4 high-risk neuroblastoma.
Wow. Knees buckle at that point, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now you've got a million questions, right? Yeah.
What's the first question?
How big is it? Is it benign? That's the 2 questions I asked.
Is it treatable?
And he didn't really, it was just the radiologist. He just said, he actually said, no, it's not very big, which it was. But they took us immediately into a different room and started talking about Jimmy Fund and children's, and nobody really knew at that time what it was.
Are you when they're saying those things to you at that point, are you even really hearing it, or is your head, everything just spinning? Or
No, well, when I heard Jimmy Fund, I felt like I got punched in the chest. Like it was like, it's a word, you never want to hear about it. And we really just didn't, since we didn't know anything while we were there, it was awful. It was just very emotional, and we had him with us, so it was even worse. So
you're in the middle of a long haul, as is Nicholas, to be sure. He's had 4 of 6 rounds of chemo.
5 of 6.
5 of 6 now, and he's going to undergo a cell transplant.
He's undergoing stem cell transplant. Will start late September. He already had his surgery, and the surgeon removed 100% of the tumor, which was amazing to hear. But, there are still little cells. There are still, we're still a long way from the end.
Right.
So he's got stem cell therapy, then there's antibody therapy down the road.
How's he handling? He's a tough kid? Is a tough guy? Is it
as tough as they come?
Yeah? Takes after his mom, right?
Yeah, he's very stubborn, and he's, it was very difficult at first because he was 22 months. So to stay still or just get them to do simple things like vital signs was like awful.
Yeah.
And now he's at the point where, those things don't bother him, and he still doesn't like being in the hospital, but he's getting used to it, which...
You were quoted as talking about your opinions as a mom are respected, and the things that you want to know and the things that you say about your son seem to be taken seriously at the Dana-Farber. They haven't figured out how this relationship between a 2-year-old, the mom and dad, and the doctors and the practitioners really needs to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are amazing over there. The doctors, the nurses, they make you feel like you're a part of his care. They don't just tell you,
go stand over there.
Right. Or, be here on this day for this reason, and, nothing else. Everything is explained in thorough detail, whether, it's hard to hear or not. And they do take everything we say. They either do, exactly what we want, or within reason, what they can. And it feels great that they are so receptive to that.
And what are they telling you about Nicholas' prognosis?
Well, they told us from the start, the type that he has a lower prognosis. Just because it's high risk, stage 4, it means it's metastasized. He's over 18 months of age, so the risk went up. And he has a gene that is known to amplify the tumor. However, they said from the start, we believe we will treat him because at his age, they respond so well to the chemotherapy, and he had an exceptional response. That's what his oncologist said.
How does it change you guys, you two, as a parent, to know your 2-year-old is fighting for his life?
It changed us completely. It certainly put things into perspective.
Specifically, what did it change about you?
Well, you just learn to take every day as a gift, you know, and take it one day at a time. Before it was just, you know, the daily drag. You go to work, you come home, you wake up, you do it again the next day. Now, every day is for Nicholas, and for his brother Jack, too. Every day is for the family, for the boys.
Well, we talk to parents, you know, all the time, and yesterday as well, and it's, you know, for you guys, I'm sure, you know, a couple of weeks before that, a couple of months before when it first started, you never think about it, right? And then your life, you never, I don't have kids, and never, I mean, I come in here and I think of it, but in your day-to-day life, you don't think of it, and then just like that, everything changes.
Yeah, and even when we first got the news, it didn't hit me right away. You know, it's got to sink in, and you just say, does my son really have cancer? Is this really happening to us? And of course it is. You never think it's going to happen to you until it does.
How is he now? How is his spirit now? How's his attitude now? Same?
He's the same kid. He's, like I said, he's always been stubborn. He's temperamental. He's 2, so he, you know, bangs his head off the wall, throws tantrums. But once he gets better from whatever treatment he was on, he bounces right back. And you wouldn't know unless, if he had hair, you would have no idea that he was sick. It's amazing.
Nicholas is 2. Your older son is 4, Jack. How much of this is Jack at 4 years of age able to process? Does he have any idea what's going on?
Well, he's a smart kid, and you know, you're not going to slip much past any 4-year-old. They're smarter than any of us realize. So he sees his brother going to the hospital, spending days at a time there. And, you know, of course he overhears things too. So he knows his brother is sick. I don't know if he understands the gravity of cancer. You know, the entire nature of it.
Right.
But you know, he knows his brother's sick, and he is so happy to see him. Every time he comes home, he's saying, oh, you know, we're finally a family again. We can all go home together again.
Good.
And he's been nothing but supportive.
Yeah.
He's crazy about his brother.
And I guess there has to be some sort of element of, not concern, but at least awareness that Jack is part of this deal, too. And there's a whole psychology of the healthy sibling being felt, you know, to be left out of the process or whatever the case may be. And something you're aware of, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's tough to find the balance between taking care of Jack versus taking care of Nicholas, and trying to take care of them both at the same time. You know, when we have to be at the hospital, how are you going to keep a 4-year-old there for hours and hours at a time?
Yeah.
But that's why it's good to have a support system like we do, family and friends, and, you know, the outpouring of generosity from everybody has been overwhelming.
And now I guess your viewpoint of the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon research and money for research has taken on a whole new meaning to your family, right?
Oh, it absolutely has.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I brought a check here with me from my employer.
Wow.
So I told him I was going to be taking today off to do the show, and, you know, there are some bosses out there that might hem and haw about it. But my boss, what does he do? He says, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a check for $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund. Why don't you, you know, bring it with you?
Nice.
So I have it right here.
And well, let's give credit where credit is due. Who is your boss? Who do you work for?
I work for Hannon Electric. My boss, Ted Hannon, I've known him for almost 10 years now. Very, very generous man. And on behalf of Ted, on behalf of myself, I'd like to issue a challenge to other electrical contractors out there.
Beautiful.
If every one of you can throw in $1,000, $100, whatever, you know, it's the challenge is out there.
Difference.
Yeah.
Let's hear it for Mr. Hannon.
Ted just said you can have tomorrow off too. Take the weekend.
Greg and Lisa, very nice to meet you. Thank you for the check. We appreciate that. Hannon Electric, thank you for what you do. Best of luck to you and Nicholas going forward. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, I get an update if you'd like.
Please.
All 50 states have